So now let's take a look at this problem here. It says weight of a box. Two people are carrying a box. One person exerts a force of 150 pounds at an angle of 62.4 degrees with the horizontal. And the other person exerts a force of 114 pounds at an angle of 54.9 degrees. Find the weight of the box. Okay, so now the weight of the box is just the idea of this force downward. So the way we're going to do this problem is we're just going to think of the forces here. So I have this force here, I have this force over here, and then essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to sum those two forces together, and that's really what we're dealing with. So we're dealing with what we call a resultant. So if I think of the parallelogram here, essentially what I'm looking for, let me redraw it, is this vector here. Okay, so if I can find that vector, I know the force downward. Okay, so the way to do this is when I take a look at the initial here, let's see what information we're given by this picture here. And if I take a look at this, this is where we're at. So we do know 62.4 degrees and we know 54.9 degrees. Now, if I'm going to try to find that resultant, which is here, I'm going to have to think about this angle here. Now, I know all three of those angles together, that angle in the middle and plus these other two, create a straight angle, which tells me that that would equal 180 degrees. So now, by doing the math there, I got 62.4 plus 54.9. That angle ends up being 62.7 degrees, which means the angle across from it, since this is a parallelogram that we created here, is also going to be 62.7 degrees. Okay. If we start filling other information in here, I know this is going to be 114 pounds. Yep. I know this is going to be 150 pounds. Okay, so that's our basic setup for all the information we have here. All right, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look at how we can get there. Now, some people think that, hey, this line down the middle here just splits that angle in half, and it actually doesn't. It might appear that way, but no, it's not the case. So we can't just say, hey, pick half of that, and then I can find out that other angle, and then I can use like law of cosines or law of sines or something like that. It doesn't work that easily. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use the sum of the angles of a parallelogram. So we know all together, if I dealt with all four of these angles, that they would all equal 360 degrees. So we're going to use that idea here. So now 62 times 2, I'm going to start with that. That's going to be 125.4. And then we have the 360 degrees minus the 125.4, which is the other two angles. And that's going to give me 234.6 degrees. Now remember, these are all degrees here because we're talking about angles. So then I know that this angle here and this angle here are the same, are equal. Okay, so that tells me then all I have to do with this angle is divide it by 2. And then when I divide it by 2, I get this to be 117.3 degrees. Now this helps me immensely with everything I need for this problem. Now I'm almost done. Because now all I need here is I have this side, I have this side, this angle, and this side, which tells me I can use the law of cosines. So then I'm going to get, I'll call it a squared equals 114 squared plus 150 squared minus 214 times 150 times cosine of 117.3 degrees. And then my a squared is going to equal 5118.8147 blah blah blah. And then remember now, that's my a squared equals that, which means I have to square root it. So when I square root it, remember square root, okay, square root, I'm going to get a equals 226.2339 blah blah blah. And then if I reduce it down to whole pounds there, this is going to tell me that a is actually going to equal 226 pounds. And that's the weight of the box. All right, so there's our answer for this one. So not too bad. And again, when we do word problems, make sure you read it again as soon as you find all of your information that you think is pertinent, and then you'll know for certain if you answered the question completely, especially after all that work. So the only thing we see at the end is says find the weight of the box, and that's what we did. So all set.